Hello and welcome back to Talon 101. This time we're going to talk about RFF 4 and all its other variations, because this kick is it's a decent kick for Hwoarang, and it remains a decent kick. There's a small buff and there's also a small nerf. But besides that, if you do have Heat active and you have a counter hit state, or your opponent pressed the button during one of your sequences, then yeah, you're gonna love this exact string every time you're in right foot forward. So let's start with the frame data as per usual. Let's start with RFF 4, the first kick. This is the important kick, the 12 frame high that is +3 on hit and is -8 on block. This leaves you in right foot forward, so if you do get this on hit, you can throw out RFF DF2 +3 right away to keep them in check, because if the opponent does decide to backdash on hit after RFF 4, well, nothing catches. So if I throw out RFF 4 and press DF2, nope. RFF 4, F1 +2, nope. Into down back 4, yes. But like, even your RFF options don't follow up. So like, it's not the greatest situation on hit, but you do have frames with you. So if the opponent does decide to press a button right away, that isn't a lower grab, then yeah, your Power Crush should beat them. And if you want to approach them, you're safe in that regard. And you have like a couple of, slower mids to throw out in that situation paired up with down back 4. Well, they're not necessarily slow because you are +3, so your RFF back 2 will come out at 13 to 14 frames-ish. Your RFF 3 also will now come out at 13 frames, so it's not a bad pairing. It's just you just can't use your faster options. Of course, on block, well, it's -8. Well, I mean, what are you supposed to do at -8? You're supposed to block at -8. You can't really press anything here. But you probably could press a button because RFF 4.4 and RFF 4.3 are extremely delayable. And we're gonna go to RFF 4.4 now. The second hit comes out at 18 frames. It's -5 on block. This move is extremely delayable, and it does knock down on hit for an extra damage on FF3 or back 3. Take your pick on which one you want to do. And the move is, like, again, extremely delayable. And it does jail, keyword, jail on block. Not on hit, on block. So if I throw this out right away, your opponent can't duck that. Of course, if you delay it by like a half second, then yeah, your opponent can duck that. But if you're doing it on block right away, you've gained space. And as you gain space, if the opponent does decide to press a button here, depending on the move they press, then you can avoid it and punish them real hard. So you either would sidestep, punish the opponent, or you just straight up whiff punish them if they throw out a basic check, like let's say a down forward 1. But I did say key part wherein it's on block only. Yeah, it's on block only. Only jails on block. It does not jail on hit. So if I throw this right away as the opponent gets hit, you can see that they duck. And if I delay it, well, I could be in trouble. Well, I could be if there wasn't another option, and that was RFF 4.3. So if the opponent does decide to duck, well, yeah, they're gonna get hit. So let's move on to the next string that RFF 4 has, and that is RFF 4.3. So this move, the second kick, comes out at 25 frames. The buff here is that it's now -14. This move used to be -15 on block, so which means basically almost everyone in the cast could launch you. But now, since you move it to -14, a smaller group of characters in the cast can now punish you. It does knock down on hit, and you're gonna get more or less your right plasma blade, depending on the distance you get it. So it's better off to just cancel and maybe even add a dash in between to get like your back 3. If not that, stick to the old faithful RFF forward 3 as soon as this move does connect. Now it's only a natural combo on counter hit, so just remember that for RFF 4.4 and RFF 4.3. It is also extremely delayable. I mean it by like a lot. You see how delayable it is? Also, its range. Besides it's like being extremely delayable, its range. What is that range? Also the frame data. So right, it's -14. It's not -11. So like the farther your opponent does block this move, the more safe you are. And like, I don't know an 11 frame punish or even a 12 frame punish that could hit at that distance. So if you want to just throw this out in neutral, sure, why not? But this move doesn't track. Take care with that. As you can see, if you throw out RFF4 and then you delay it, nope, that's not gonna catch sidewalk left. Doesn't catch sidewalk right either. So be careful when you throw it out randomly in neutral, right? But it's something you can throw out. Like for as long as you throw it out in like the range of RFF4-4, you let the leg lift up and it's just like their opponent's gonna think, hey, I can probably punish them. And the answer to that question is probably no, because the second hit's gonna stuff whatever button they just pressed there. But this button usually gets paired up with setups, and a basic way to use it is use it as a combo ender or okizeme. So you do a combo, and then you do a move that would give you a lot of space or put you back in right foot forward, and then that's when you throw out RFF4-3. Before in Tekken 7, it was very connected to the Hell Sweep. Like so. I guess you can still do it in Tekken 8. Of course, this can be beaten by specific wake-up option. It's not exactly the best setup in the world, but as long as you pair it up with stuff like that, then you can throw out RFF4-3. And it does work from time to time, just remembering Tekken 7. And the last thing for RFF4 is that it can enter Flamingo. So it will still be 12 frames because it's the first kick. It's 16 on hit, so that means, well, they can't do anything because if they press a button, well, your best option, RFSDF4, will more or less counter-hit launch them. So, free reign is yours the moment RFF4 does hit, but it is +5 on block, and I have a whole video on why that is a tricky situation to be in. I'll link it in the description below. And the last thing for it is that it's +13 on counter hit, so that means you can get RFS2-3 besides RFS-F4 when you have heat active. Go over towards the wall and you're pressuring your opponent with like RFF-DF4 loops and even add an RFF4 in between. If you do get the counter hit on RFF4 instead of RFF-DF4, you can rack up a good amount of damage. That's close to half-life. That's really good. But yeah, its RFS pressure is gutted a bit because of the fact that it is +5 now. You cannot use a mid to keep the opponent in check in that sense, because just a short summary of why the +5 hurts. If we put this on punish and we tell the opponent to do a power crush, and of course they block RFF4, right? I mean, that's okay, but you lose the situation you were in already, like if you were pressuring them. Which, yeah, it sucks for Hwoarang. It does. That's why the Tekken 8 system, you either benefit from it or it is a negative to you, depending on the situation. But yeah, combine all those factors together, and you have a pretty good string that the opponent has to be wary about. Most especially when it gets connected to RFS pressure or any of your sequences, because there is a safe mid-low crush, there's a spacing tool, there's a random-ass mid that you can throw out, and it reaches from like a mile away, and it can, you know, again go back to flamingo pressure, and if not, you can just return back to safety. But yeah, that's everything I know about RFF4 has been the lesson for this video. Again, I've been Frontier, and thank you for watching.